when they're crowded, yes, I have had that. Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of unusual. I've had it. It's not one of my favorites, but Bob absolutely loves it. Matter of fact, in the Chicago area, there's this chain. They're not just in Chicago, basically. They're from Chicago. They're called Lettuce Entertainment Restaurants. They've been around for 40 years, 50 years. And gives you going for dinner. They have a specialized version that left out alone. And he wanted to order one and they ran out. He go back. Because he had his heart set on that and he didn't want to waste. And the manager was very apologetic. He said, sorry, Paul, I had to save one for you. That was 10 years ago. Fix the back. It feels like it. Is it? It felt like it. Oh. It felt like it was. So talk about tactile devices. So it worked out. It worked out. Good job.
Hine,
Hine,
Matov,
Matov,
Uma,
Uma,
Naim,
Naim,
Sheverachim,
Sheverachim, Sheverachim, Gam Yachad.
Hine,
Hine,
Matov,
Matov,
Uma,
Uma,
Naim,
Naim,
Sheverachim,
Sheverachim, Sheverachim, Gam Yachad. Hine, Matov,
Uma, Naim,
Uma, Naim,
Sheverachim,
Sheverachim,
Gam Yachad,
Gam Yachad.
Hine Matov,
Hine, Matov,
Uma, Naim,
Uma, Naim,
Sheverachim,
Sheverachim,
Gam Yachad.
Gam Yachad.
Hine matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Let's turn to the middle of page 124 of our prayer books and page 1 of the Satellite Siddur for those joining us by live stream, and we'll read together. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love,
all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Well, good evening, and almost Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Well, we're 25% into our summer Shabbat services. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Right? I'm going to do a little counting tonight. And what was that? That's right. We're going to start right right from the beginning. And it's funny because this is my third night out of 5 doing a parashah. So anyone who's interested, Harry will be more than happy to fill in the blanks over here on my right. I hope you had a great week as we come together tonight to celebrate Shabbat as a family. I welcome all of you joining us for our Shabbat services, and for those joining live stream, I hope you found the satellite Siddur so that you can participate in tonight's service. So let's make it official Shabbat by inviting Linda Reitzes to light our Sabbath candles as we rise and turn to page 120 of our prayer books, or page 1 of the satellite Siddur.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Let's continue reading together. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Please be seated. Let's turn to page 125 of our prayer books. Where has the week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Let's read together. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. May these Sabbath hours of rest and renewal, now begun, open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise for us all.
We continue on pages 138 or 2 with L'chadodi. L'chadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'lidila. L'chadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Last verse. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha uv'tzola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, L'chadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. And in Mishkan Tefillah, we continue on page 144 responsively for the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach hir'utei ve'amlich marchutei b'chayekon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayed kol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imru, amen. Yehesh me'rabam mevarach, ve'alam ulalmei almayah, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudasham b'richu le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma ve'imru. Amen. And we turn to page 146 for Mitch and me to do the opening line, for you all to respond with the second two lines, beginning our Shabbat service, followed by the Hama'ariv Aravim, and we rise. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach. You return. Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam va'ed.
Let's turn to the top of page 149, page 3 of the Satellite Siddur. Praise to you, Adonai our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Let's read together. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows.
And I seal your reading. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Amen. Let's now turn to the middle of page 150 of our prayer book, and we'll read together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel.
And again, I seal that blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. V'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Let us turn to the top of page 157 in our prayer books, or page 5 of the satellite Siddur. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, and together, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך רב עונך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, Ze'ilianu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed V'nemar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov U'gelo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch Adonai Gal Yisrael Yai lai lai la lai la lai la lai la lai Yai la lai lai Yai lai 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 lai
Let's turn to the middle of page 161, or the bottom of page 5 in the satellite Siddur. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Let's read together. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Baruch atah Adonai Haborei Sukkot Shalom Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim Ve'al Kol Amo Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom Ve'al Yerushalayim Ve'al Kol Amo Ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom Baruch atah Adonai Haborei Sukkot Shalom Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Amo Yisrael. And we turn the page. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rid olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rid olam. B'ni u'bein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rid olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rid olam. V'ayom ha'shvi Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam.
As we turn to the tefillah, the core of our Shabbat service, I ask that you please rise as we turn to page 164 in our prayer books, page 7 in the satellite Siddur. Either read silently through page 179 or say internally whatever you're feeling at this time. We'll come back together once everyone is seated.
Oh, say shalom b'mromav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Take time to think. Thoughts are the source of power. Take time to play. Play is the secret of perpetual youth. Take time to read. Reading is the foundation of wisdom. Take time to pray, because prayer can be a rock of strength in time of trouble. Take time to love. Loving is what makes living worthwhile. Take time to be friendly. Friendship gives life a delicious flavor. Take time to laugh. Laughter is the music of the soul. Take time to give. Any day of the year is too short for selfishness. Take time to do your work well. Pride in your work, no matter what it is, nourishes the ego and the spirit. Please turn to page 371 of your prayer book, page 9 in the satellite Siddur. The Misha Barak prayer is for those who are in need of healing, healing of mind, healing of body, healing of spirit. We have been asked to offer prayers for our JCR members and family, Leah Jacobson, Joan Thompson, Bert Thompson, Bert Posner, Roberta Schwartz, Jane Barron, Joanne Blau, Shirley Posner, Larry Satcher. Larry, great to see you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Tony Pinto, Beth Pavlow. Beth, good to see you. Aaron Alter, Ronnie Joel, after hip surgery. Good to see you too, Ronnie. Herb Wallach, and Debbie Jarris. And our JCMI friends and extended family, Talora Bat Shara, Ron Derone, Robert D'Onofrio, John Vernon, Kayla Monasterio, Julia Fitzgerald, Susan Donahue, Margaret Gallivan, Pamela Michael, Gary Singer, Mary Ann Mulligan, Peter Gaiori, Linda Gagon, Tom Malota, Brandon Ben Sharon, Roger Adruski, Edward Margulis, Teddy Emerson, Nicole Jacobson, Steve Dukemen, Rosa Footlick, Barbara Kretschmar, Jay Oremland, Mary Finisand, Pete Carochi, Henry Berner, Bill Coonson, Denise Sparks, Lenora Savannah, Lisa Singer, Susan Gannon. Please raise your hand if you have anyone you'd like us to add. Lynn? Nicole Williams. Yes. Please join Cantor Harry in singing the Misha Berach prayer.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor Abracha Meimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor Abracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So tonight, I invite up Charlie Blum for tonight's Kiddush and Hamotzi as we rise, and turn to page 123 of our prayer book, page 10 in the satellite Siddur.
This seventh day is consecrated to the eternal God. On Shabbat, eternal sign of creation, we remember that we are created in the divine image. We therefore raise the cup in thanksgiving. Let us read together at the top of the page. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Blessed art thou, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, b'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho, b'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
L'chaim. And Charlie, if you wouldn't mind scooching up there a little bit and cut up that island challah that we have, and if anybody visiting or celebrating something special, or you just want to come up and get some island challah, come on up and grab a slice.
And thank you, Bob, for our new slogan, come for the challah, stay for the service.
Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. So 30 years ago when I started here, during season, we had to open those doors. There were so many people, as in hundreds. But I got to tell you, in the summer, the crowd was no bigger than this. So you guys rock. You are just as good as when we had 300 people coming on a regular Shabbat night. Impressive. Really impressive. So tonight's parashah, in case you looked at the bulletin, had somebody else delivering it, but that didn't happen. So who came to our rescue? Who else? Who else? The one and only. So I turn the microphone with great pleasure and gratitude over to Mitch for
Thanks,
Bar. Woohoo!
Thanks, Cantor. Parashat Bimidbar opens up the book of Numbers, also called Bimidbar, the fourth book of the Torah, and it begins by describing a census that God commanded Moses to take of the people. In addition to a Nasi, or prince, was appointed from each tribe to serve as a representative or leader. The central theme of the book of Numbers is the second stage of the Israelites' journey. Not only are they on a physical journey from Egypt to the Promised Land, but they also must adjust their mentality from slavery to freedom. This is their journey through Bamidbar. This parashah is about the preparations for that journey. The first step being to take a census. To inherit the land, the Israelites will have to fight. First, we read about the census results for each of the tribes, except the Levites. They're counted later and separately. Hence, the census, specifically of men between the ages of 20 and 60, those eligible to serve in battles. Next, the Levites are instructed by God to handle a special task, to care for the Mishkan, or tabernacle, and its vessels. That involves taking the Mishkan down wherever the people travel, physically carrying its parts, and reassembling it where they encamp. Instructions are given as to the layout of the camp, which was to be a square with a tabernacle in the middle. 3 tribes were to set up their tents with banners on each side, while the Levites formed an inner square closest to the Mishkan. Everyone else dwelled around the Levites, divided by tribe. The order in which they encamped, also the order in which they journeyed. The duties of the family of Kehat, which included Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, who had other roles, were spelled out. It was their task to carry the most sacred objects, the ark, table, menorah, altars, curtains, and holy vessels, used in the sacrificial service when the Israelites journeyed. This demanded special care. There aren't any stories in the parashah, just descriptions of the census, the special jobs given to the Levites, the formation of the camp, and a law about redeeming firstborns. In fact, the chronology of this parashah is such that the Israelites are still encamped at the foot of Mount Sinai, and they won't begin their travels towards the Promised Land for another several chapters. The Torah devotes significant space to the organization and specifics of the Israelite camp, including tribe counts, encampment arrangements, and the role of Levites, not just for logistical reasons, but to emphasize the community's spiritual unity and God's presence among them. The order and organization of the camp, particularly the Levites' central role, symbolize the Israelites' relationship with God and their covenant with Him. While doing research on tonight's parashah, I came across information that I sourced from Rabbi Foreman, who pointed out a textual oddity. Why does the Torah use two different words to count, and what do they each indicate? Nasa and pakad are two words mostly used in tonight's parashah. What's interesting is that the words mean something else besides counting. In the parashah, God says to Moses, "Do not count the tribe of Levi." As we've learned, the Levites will be separated and they will be counted later. Derivatives of Nasa and pakad also mean to appoint, carry, or lift up. The Levites are to be in charge of the tabernacle and all the associated vessels. They are going to carry the Mishkan. Nasa, to count or lift up. It turns out that whenever our parashah uses the word nasa in the sense of count, it always is paired with lift up the heads of the children of Israel. It's a strange way of thinking of counting, but the whole idea is to lift heads in a way that people feel better about themselves. Instead of being downcast, lift their heads. There is something they're affirming about counting. The English word count means to determine the total number of collection, to take into account, include, and to be significant. Lifting their heads is significant. Pakad not only means to count, but to entrust, to be entrusted with some responsibility. Pakad is a derivative of pikadon, which is an object that I give you, I entrust to you, something valuable to watch over, and someday return to me. Our synagogue is a pikadon. It's a valuable object, meaning it has monetary value. It also has desirable or esteemed characteristics and qualities, and it's of great use or service. God has given us this great place to watch over. We, you and me, are the gatekeepers of this house of worship, and that gatekeeping has been handed down many times over the past 42 years to us. Taking it a step further, as gatekeepers, we have further appointed the board of directors as the carer of our great Mishkan. And as God told Moses to the Levites to carry the tabernacle and its vessels, our board of directors carries our synagogue into the future. That's what happens when you get appointed, and in our case, elected. We're entrusted with responsibility, and like I said earlier, it's like we've been given a pikadon to watch over, to safeguard. So somehow, maybe this idea of being counted also has to do with the idea of being entrusted some way. Maybe the two meanings of pakad, entrust, count, and the two meanings of nasa, lift up, count, are kind of connected to each other. Maybe the idea of pakad explains the idea of nasa. In other words, do you know what being counted that makes us feel meaningful? What makes us to be able makes us feeling, try that again. In other words, do you know what being counted that makes us feel meaningful? What makes us to be able to lift up our faces? The answer is in the idea of being entrusted, by having some sort of responsibility with reference to a goal that's much larger than us. When I feel entrusted with a goal, I really do feel like I count. At the end of the day, it's what makes me feel as if I can lift up my face in the morning, and it's what makes me feel like my life counts for something. Moving our focus and taking the literal meaning of nasa and pakad, to count, into consideration, we, as the gatekeepers, must also be realistic and literally count everything we do. Counting is important, from counting our membership, to income and expenses, to event attendance, to the number of days we water the lawn, and perhaps, of course, that we have a minyan, which is another word for counting. You get the idea. This past weekend, we had a bang-up weekend parking cars. Marty, Sue, Stan, and I parked and counted 383 cars this holiday weekend. Now that's a lot of cars, right? And during bingo this past year, we counted and served over 4,200 players. The committee decided to count just about everything we do for bingo down to the last rubber band. I know that sounds crazy, but we tried to account for everything we do. We counted every paper plate, knife, fork, spoon. We counted every cup of ice cream. We counted every bingo play sheet we sold and every dollar prize we handed out and so on. And I know I mean we, drove a lot of people crazy out there. So why? Why count? Because like the parasha has shown us, it is important to count so we may get a better understanding how sermons tread us spiritually, how the music inspires us, or to get a better understanding how we raise funds for operating JCMI. We count not only to understand the things we do well, but to also understand those things we don't do so well, and to help us answer what it is that we can do to make it even better. Remember, we are the gatekeepers. We have been entrusted with this Pikadon. Save for a few paid workers, JCMI is completely made up of volunteers. For a synagogue, volunteerism signifies community involvement, spiritual growth, and the fulfillment of core Jewish values like tikkun olam, meaning repairing the world. Volunteers contribute to the synagogue's daily operations, programs, events, strengthening the community and enabling its mission. It is a core Jewish value and a traditional way for Jews to be engaged in their communities. Volunteerism is the part of the intrinsic value with a higher meaning. It's nasa, the lifting up part. In this parasha, we counted soldiers for battle. Here at JCMI, we count volunteers who are like soldiers, where they share similarities in their commitment, service, and the structure they operate within. They will differ significantly in their goals and the nature of their tasks, but both require dedication and are organized for a purpose. But the Army's focus is on a national defense, while the synagogue's volunteers' focus is on community, faith-based activities, and protector of the Pikadon. If the only meaning of life is self-preservation, then it's like we live to live. That doesn't seem very meaningful. We need to live for something that's larger than us, that will continue to exist, that will be noble and good and right even when we are gone. Most people would say the answer to that is living for something that is larger than yourself. So back to Nisan. To count or lift up, and Pakad, to count or to entrust. Tonight's parasha shows us that it's important that there is a blending of these terms. We count on our members to have an active and meaningful experience. We count on the funds that we raise through donations, membership dues, and activities, and we count on our precious volunteers to strengthen our synagogue. We count on our clergy to inspire our congregation. We count on our congregation to be a part of the bigger picture. We count on the Marco Island community. We also count on our entrusted leaders to lift us up as the guardians and protectors of the Pikadon. So I ask you to reflect on how or what you can count. I count on you to be the fullest participant possible. I count on you to have our backs. I count our numbers to help us thrive and grow. And I hope you count on me, us, the board of directors, to have your back as stewards of JCMI. We need to count our numbers, not because we're going into war, but our future is a constant battle, a battle we can pick, a battle we shouldn't lose. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos.
Thank you, Mitch. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings from our Board of Directors. I welcome visitors worshiping with us tonight, and I invite you to stay on hand for the Oneg Shabbat following services. Tonight's Oneg was coordinated by Mary Pinto, Mitch Braun, Bob Jarrett, Heather Greenfield, Sandra Heckler, Barbara Holtz, Beth Weinberg, and Lynn Wilkie. We are honoring Bob Jarrett tonight in tonight's Oneg, and we're dedicating the Oneg to to him. So Bob, thank you. Our lovely flowers are sponsored by Charlie and Karen Blum in memory of Joy Tessel, Karen's mother, and in memory of Lorraine Blum, Charlie's mother. We have a second set of flowers, and those are dedicated by Leo Wertheim in memory of Seidel Rita Wertheim, Leo's wife. Current details of everything going on in congregational life can be found on our website, in our monthly newsletter, The Messenger, and in the semi-weekly email notifications we send out to membership. I take this occasion to remind everyone, our annual 4th of July picnic will be July 4th, Friday at 4 p.m., with services following right after. Please RSVP by June 25th. For more information, please visit the website. JCMI has Pony Canasta every Thursday at 12 p.m. here at JCMI. If you're interested in playing, contact Beth Weinberg via email. The Women's Book Club flyer is around the building and on our website for the next season. The office is selling memorial yahrzeit candles if you have a need. And remember, Tuesdays are chess, so come at 9:30 to noon and enjoy a friendly, fun game of chess and learn and improve your game. See Irv for more information. Irv, do you want to say a word or two about it? Thank you, Irv. Do not forget to bring in food for those in the community less fortunate when you come on Fridays, or leave a donation in the tzedakah box. And now, as we move to conclusion of tonight's service, I invite to the beam our final honorees, Beth and Frank Weinberg. Let us please reopen our prayer books to page 586 and rise together for Elena.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go. To let it go. Tonight, we offer Kaddish for those observing Shiva Shloshim or Avelut, for Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky, Frada Rosaf, Angelina Estrada, Dr. Gerald Kurlander. And for our loved ones for whom we are observing Yortzeit: Charlotte K. Baker, Christopher Bell, Roger Blau, Lorraine Blum, Thomas Bohr, Jody Ellen Cohn, Betty Davis, Joel Farber, Lynn Friedman, George Levin, George Nadick, Irving Pifau, Anna Skolnick, Joy Tessel, Jack Vesicki, Arthur Willens, Stuart Yesman. Is there anyone tonight who's observing Shiva Shalom or Yortzeit? Please rise as we turn to page 598 in our prayer books, page 11 in the satellite Siddur. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divra kirusei v'yamlich machute, b'chayechon uvimeichon uv'chaye dekal beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman karim v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam lomei amaya, Yit barak v'yit dabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit roman v'yit naseh v'yit hadar v'yit halev v'yit halal shemei kudisha barichu le'ela min kol birchasa v'shirata v'tnuharata ta'amriran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakal Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, amen.
To conclude this evening's service, we turn to pages 625 and 12 for Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra, Le'ed Nasa v'chefzo kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra v'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Noah, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yiyeh, B'tifara, V'hu Echad, V'ein Sheni, Lehamshilo, Lehachbira, B'li Reshit, B'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz, V'hamisra, V'hu Echad, V'ein Sheni, Lehamshilo, Lehachbira, B'li Reshit, B'li Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz, V'hamisra. Last verse, B'yado, Afkid Ruchi, Be'et Ishan, Ve'a'ira, Ve'imuchi, Giviati, Adonai li, Ve'lo ira.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos.